Ya, selamat siang pemirsa IDXCHANNEL, kembali dalam update terbaru Annual Meetings IMF dan World Bank Group 2018 yang masih dilaksanakan sampai dengan saat ini di Bali, tepatnya di Nusa Dua. Dan kami sudah tersambung saat ini dengan Bapak Stewart James dari HSBC Group. Halo, good afternoon, Mr. Stewart James.
Hello, good to be with you.
Annual meeting. So, what is the main role or maybe the main focus of HSBC in these annual meetings?
Well, we're here to discuss the contribution that we can play to sustainable finance. That's helping the global economy transition from its reliance on carbon-intensive fuels to a low-carbon future. And the topic of our conference today is the way in which the public sector and governments can cooperate with the private sector so that we maximize the flow of resources to that new infrastructure that's very much needed.
Is the main expectation maybe from HSBC of this event maybe contribute to emerging countries like Indonesia, or?
Well, yes, I mean, we have expectations coming out of this weekend that we get the political direction and support necessary that gives us the confidence as a business to, if you like, change our business model so that we are much more focused on sustainable assets than we would necessarily have been in the past, and we very much want our business to be at the vanguard of that. And in practical terms, what that means is doing more of the sort of initiative that we entered into with the Indonesian government earlier this year when we launched a green sukuk, and Indonesia was the first sovereign to launch that in the world, so it was a real feather in the cap for them, and the proceeds from that will go to just the sort of infrastructure that I'm talking about.
Indonesia, Stuart, do you see that Indonesia still have a positive outlook for the next years maybe, or many years in forward?
Well, I certainly think so. I think you have a lot of the right people in place who understand what needs to be done. I've just been sharing a platform with Minister Lembong, and I worked in the past very much with Sri Mulyani, and these people, I think, are the sort of people who can really drive the agenda here and give private sector finance the confidence to come in and contribute. So I think the outlook's bright.
Lending finance that you already talked in the three Hati Karana in Bali.
It's absolutely central to the sustainability agenda, because neither the public sector nor the private sector on their own have the funds to devote to the infrastructure transformation that's needed. So they need to work together. About 80% of the required funding will ultimately come from the private sector, and so we need to use the public funds, that's your and my taxes, as smartly as possible to crowd in that private sector finance. So blended finance is a very important piece of the jigsaw.
Move closer to maybe in a bond market. HSBC successfully helped Indonesia to release $3 billion green bond. How do you see green bond in global market itself?
Well, I mean, as you know, we were involved, as you say, in making a market for that bond, and we found a wide interest from a large degree of investors. So I think the demand for this kind of product is out there, and you know, we just need to ensure that the investment opportunities are there at the end of the line, and that governments are able to ensure that the proceeds go to the right sort of investments. Provided that's in place, and you have an independent mechanism to audit that, then we're good to go, I think.
Thomas Lembong or BKPM. So is there any commitment that HSBC will bring to Indonesia?
Well, what we were Well, what we were sharing a stage today. We didn't have a discussion ourselves. We've got many occasions, I'm sure, over the course of the week and the weekend when the private and the public sector will be coming together. But we're in constant discussions between our team here in Indonesia with the government on how we can work together on this agenda.
Annual meetings, what message that you offer to the world? Maybe if we talk about this now, the condition of economic now that we already know about trade war, about anything else out there. So what message that you want to deliver to global?
Well, I think the message today is that we know the need to transition to a low-carbon economy is urgent. It's never been more urgent. And we stand ready to work as a private sector institution with public authorities such as the Indonesian government to make that transition possible.
What your hope maybe after this IMF annual meetings for Indonesia or maybe for emerging countries beside Indonesia?
Well,
my hope is that we manage to put a framework in place that allows the money that's standing on the sidelines, often in the markets of advanced economies or in the hands of the pension funds of people in the advanced economies, that we find a framework that allows that money to move and be part of Asia's growth story. Because let's face it, this is the dynamo of future growth in the coming decades on the planet. And so we need to ensure that savers money that wants to find fruitful investments can do so.
Your time to being live interview with IDX channel. Good luck for HSBC, Stewart.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure joining you.
Saya tadi bersama dengan Stewart James, Head of Group Public Affairs dari HSBC Group Asia Pasifik. Dan nantikan informasi selanjutnya terkait annual meetings IMF dan World Bank Group 2018 di Bali. Saya Fajar Wayo, undur diri. Sampai jumpa.